Wednesday, the 17th of January. I'm Stephen Ridgway. I'm going to start with a correction. So yesterday I reminded you all about the Ivanti VPN issues. As a quick recap, over the last 5 days there has been a significant increase in the amount of activity on the internet looking for vulnerable Ivanti Connect Secure VPN devices. I think I muttered something about get it patched, blah, blah, blah. There's a patch out there. Actually, I was wrong. There isn't a patch available. So what we do know so far is that there has been a lot of activity aimed at looking for these devices and compromising them. There are two CVEs that are being targeted. CVE 2023 46805, which is a authentication bypass, so it allows attackers to bypass authentication checks. That one has got a CVSS score of 8.2, so really pretty serious. The other one is CVE 2024 21887, which is rated as critical and has a CVSS score of 9.1 out of 10. It allows an authenticated user to send specifically crafted requests and run arbitrary commands on the trick device. So if you combine the two, you can avoid authentication checks, i.e. become an authenticated user on the device, and then you can run arbitrary commands. So pretty comprehensively compromised. There is a particular group, UTA0178, that is suspected to be related to Chinese state actors, so potential APT. I've not come across before, but maybe there are other names. There almost always are for these groups. This particular group has been associated with looking for and compromising these devices. The group that discovered this particular vulnerability, Volexity, said that as of the 15th of Jan, so 2 days ago, they scanned 30,000 devices and identified at least 1,700 compromised devices. That will have gone up because in the last few days, there's much information out there now about how to identify and how to compromise these devices. I think it's fair to say that unless you've done something about it, you should be very concerned that you have already been compromised. As I said, the patches aren't available. They look like they're scheduled for later in January for the 2023 vulnerability, and probably mid-Feb for the 2024 vulnerability. So patches are on the way, but not imminent. Ivanti themselves have released some mitigation steps. So there are some workarounds which will provide a level of protection, although they don't directly address either of the vulnerabilities themselves. So some of it is to do with identifying potential attempts to exploit the devices. So there's some information in there which will be useful for your security visibility from security visibility aspects of things. So I would say if you are using Ivanti devices, I'm sure I suspect by now you'll be all over it, but just bear in mind this is quite serious and the devices are being compromised en masse at the moment. We've linked both the article from Dark Reading, which sets out the current state quite nicely, and I've also linked the mitigating actions from Ivanti. So take a look at those if you are using these devices. Yesterday, Chrome released a patch to 4 security issues in the Chromium browser, and one of which is apparently an actively exploited flaw. So the exploited flaw is tracked as CVE 2024-0519 and is an out-of-bounds memory access in the V8 JavaScript and WebAssembly engine. So V8's had a pretty hard time with things over the last few months, but at least it means that if you are, if you are interested in this stuff, you probably understand quite a bit about how it works and how it gets compromised and how patching it fixes these things. So watch out for that one. That is a good one. There are some other vulnerabilities as well, but that's the one that which is most important to fix. So as always, if there are Chrome updates, it is a good idea to nudge Chrome. The updates, auto updates will catch up, but if you are concerned, or if you want to get the update as soon as possible, which is not a bad thing, especially if you work in our industry, then you can nudge Chrome. And do also remember that there are occasions where Chrome needs to be restarted in order to implement patches. I don't know whether this one does or not, because I haven't done my browser yet, and before anybody goes ha, I will be doing it straight after the podcast. So I shall be having a look at that in a moment. So yeah, watch out for that. There is a Chrome patch, or there are Chrome patches out there now. And then finally from me, short and sharp today, Citrix, VMware and Atlassian have been hit with critical flaws. There's a good article in the Hacker News. Some of these are more serious than others. One of them is, so there's a couple of Citrix vulnerabilities, one of which is an authenticated remote code execution on the management interface, which requires access to the management interface, and B, my understanding is you need to have an account on the device in order to exploit this. But remote code executions is generally a pretty bad thing in this sense. The other one, which has got a slightly higher score, 8.2, is a denial of service. It is based around devices, or requires devices to be either a gateway or authorization and accounting, as in or AAA virtual server. So these patches are for, do you know what? I didn't say at the beginning, did I? So this is NetScaler ADC, formerly Citrix ADC, and NetScaler Gateway vulnerabilities. So if you're using those, have a look, see that you apply the patches. So VMware has fixed critical flaws in ARIA automation. Again, quite serious in this one. CVE 2023-34063 with a CVSS score of 9.9. It is described as missing access control flaw. So there are patches available for VMware ARIA Automation and VMware Cloud Foundation. So if you're using those, have a look and follow the links to get further information and identify the patches that you might need. Atlassian has disclosed as what's being called critical code execution bugs. This is following on from recent patches. There's been a lot of patches out recently. This particular one is looking at vulnerability CVE 2023-22527. It's been assigned a CVSS score of 10.0, which is maximum severity. Effectively, it allows an unauthenticated attacker to run remote code on an affected device. So the issue has been addressed in versions 8.5.4 and 8.5.5, 8.6.0, 8.7.1, 8.7.2. So bear in mind, at the moment, there are no backports of the fix to unsupported or earlier versions of the Atlassian Confluence system servers. So if you're not patched and up to date with those, have a look at those. If you're running out of date stuff, that's a bad idea. Anyway, that's enough from me for today. Thank you all for listening, and I will speak to you again tomorrow morning.